Appeal. Appeal.
We are good.
All right, it is that time. I'll call the meeting to order. If you please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for deceased members from fire district. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Nick. Here. Rich.
Here.
Dave. Here. Brian.
Here. Let the record show that Dan is attending to a family emergency that came up this afternoon, and he says he'll be able to join us, but he's just going to be running a little late. Public session, we'll probably hold that till the end of the meeting so that we can garnish comments as they may come during the meeting. Let's jump right into the fire district building report. I see Joe is here. What do you got? What good news you got to tell us, Joe? Good news only today.
Yeah, over the past month, Robert and myself were taking care of the roofing leak over there. Our roofing came over and did make a repair with the plumbing sets. I think did they re-insulate them, Bob, and all that, and then fill that food in again or whatever?
They did not re-insulate. That would have to be HVAC. But they did fill that void, and they found a leak on one of the patches on the roof.
Okay. I thank Bob for, as soon as we heard about that, they contacted me. I contacted Robert, and he did his magic and got a hold of our roofing and it's repaired now.
The board was CC'd on at least part of that email chain, so at least we all had a good visibility of how quickly they responded and the action based. So thank you.
The other issue we had, which is an ongoing issue, is Verizon. The landline went down again for about 4 days. After Bob got hold of Verizon, that seems to be fixed right now, as far as I know. I haven't heard anything else. And when we generally hear about that is when they get back for alarm, they try to call the county for incident numbers, and that's when we find out. So I guess that's, Carl said it's fixed again. Let's see, that Carl, I guess, he's the one that works on it all a while, so he knows what the situation is over there. The lead line and line still just stinks from the whole system, you know, so that's that. The ongoing project with Ed and Penny Group, you guys got the next draft they did for expenditures. I guess the next thing would be, you guys have to look at this and see where the monies and everything are, and then we can maybe next month ask Ed to do some kind of a preliminary sketch, something not in tacks and nails, but something preliminary, so we can look at it, and where we have our training and all that going on, to where the electronics and all that stuff needs to be put in and plugged into his drawings, we can do that. And then as we look at them drawings, we can plug in the items of necessity that, you know, have to go into that sketch, but we probably gonna have to see that sketch and do a little bit of a walkthrough for the executive offices and all that kind of thing, for all the updating all the data, you know.
Joe, that's the sketch we talked to them about that we wanted so that we could get feedback from all the stakeholders.
Yeah, right.
It's not engineering drawings, it's just a concept sketch.
Just some kind of a sketch, because I know you guys are under contract with them to, you know, do a full set of drawings when it comes time, but I thought he may give us some kind of a preliminary sketch so you guys can take a look at it. We can take a look at it at one of our meetings. I was hoping it was going to be January's, to give it to our group and just say, this is what it might look like. And, for inside, not necessarily outside right now, because we do know that the outside is, like a separate AV project, so.
Yeah, so that all the board members are aware, what we asked them to do is, there's some things that have to go in certain places, where the water comes in, where the power comes in, buildings, where sewer drains are and that kind of stuff. So we asked them to do a concept sketch of what he thinks it could lay out like, so that we could at least, with the fire, the district, the fire company officers, the rank and file over there could look at it and say, hey, this looks like it's going in the right direction, or wait, stop, this is not what we envisioned, it's not what we wanted. So we could at least, we didn't invest in a full set of engineering drawings and then have somebody throw those red flags. It's just gonna be a concept sketch so we can send up a trial balloon.
Yeah, so we can beat it up.
Send up a trial, yeah, so we can beat it up, exactly. Right. Something to beat up, yeah.
Did we officially hire
Well,
and he's going to do this?
yeah,
I know
that's
that
all-
seemed to be kind of the.
That's all part of the
vibe we're
work that
getting.
we're, correct, you jump there, Bob.
Okay, yeah, so, at the last meeting, Penny Group, they exhausted what the scope of work was that the board, right, that I was, what the board had initially approved. That was to get to the point you are right now. And that was to update the 5-year plan. And of course, the committee, along with the board, picked the 2 most priority things that they thought: the exterior work that would need to be done, and then the interior work with the fire alarm system. So moving forward, we would be on like an hourly rate and not under contract with Penny. So that is going to be something that, the board is going to have to consider with Penny.
Do we think we're better off doing a contract for the next segment rather than an hourly rate?
Well, I think a lot's going to depend on what the board is going to decide they're going to be able to do based on the estimate that you have. And just so you know, this estimate is in Dropbox. It's not in it's in the general. So that's just going to be probably a bigger discussion with the treasurer, the board, on the financing piece of it. Where do you go next? But now, to your point, like if Penny was said, well, okay, if we do a conceptual sketch, drawing, and this is going to take us 3 hours to do, it's going to be, $300-400 to do, we would continue the same way we did to finish this. We would just pay him the hourly rate. Once we get kind of past that point, then we're going to have to consider, a contract scope of work, and it's going to have to be a little bit more detailed than even what we did before.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Well, if the concept makes sense, I just don't understand the process completely.
Yeah,
As long as
because-
you keep us honest.
Yeah, right, we don't have a contract to go to the next step, but if the next step is just to do a conceptual drawing, we would continue the same way we are now, is we're just paying them an hourly rate
Okay,
to
so when
do
the
that
time
work.
comes and we say, yep, we're ready to do this, we got the money here, we're ready, we like your idea, let's put pen to paper, pencil to paper, and come up with a set of engineering drawing, then we're gonna, okay. That's when we move to that next step.
Does that make sense, Sean?
Correct.
Carrie? Is that-
And you envision that to be probably a few months out?
Yeah, well, that's going to largely depend on the financial piece of it.
The priority.
I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to,
No,
So-
that's-
I didn't mean to take it off in a different direction, Joe. What
No,
else you got?
that's perfectly fine, because, you guys are, doing the, payment schedule, and you have to know that, and, Bobby always has, the answers when you guys, question it, because he's on top of it,
Unless we got Sean and the checkbook on board, this is all just a dream anyway.
But that's fine. No, it's all good. So, I mean, that's basically, where I'm at with this and, my report, because everything else has been okay so far, so, unless, did I miss anything, Nick? take around with what's going on there?
On board,
I was over there for a meeting with the chief and the others were over there for it. Place looked good. They, you can see the repairs. Bob told us how quick you guys jumped on that roof repair when we did, so it's all good.
I do have one question. They were doing some SCBA drills inside the station. And a while back, they did it with a smoke machine, and we were gonna look in to see if that new filtering system we have over there can take that smoke machine haze, because I don't know.
Last I knew, the district didn't have a smoke machine.
They got one months ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
The department.
Our department has one.
We've had a discussion with the chief about that. That still needs to be, that still needs to be sorted out. The district buys fire equipment.
Well, I don't care about, Richard, you can talk.
Yeah.
That's not my question. If they use it in the station, is it going to harm that filtering system?
We would need to know more specifics about that machine and the chemicals that were being consumed in the machine. Because some of the machines will take a variety of chemicals.
Right.
And it's not just the machine, it's what chemical you put in it and as to what it gives off, so.
Yeah, that was a question I think we had, like different types.
I think I dropped off
Water
some
based.
to,
We had to get more information back to determine what they were using for the fluid. And I've not, I don't know if anybody's heard, but I've not heard back.
So
I
I
think I
know,
dropped off some paperwork to Bob on what the machine was.
Yeah, I just mean the fluid that goes in, so you get.
Yeah.
Regardless, I
The
think,
water-based fluid.
regardless, for liability's sake, and there's a number of issues. And I think if, in my position, you know, when we do discuss it, is likely going to be that should the district decide that machine is appropriate and that we want our firefighters being trained with it, then we buy it and we reimburse the fire company for the machine. That's still a discussion that we have to have.
so as everybody is right now, it's not to be used in the station because it's not to be used right now.
Good. Yeah, that's the way we left it.
Okay, that's fine. As long as I know that, so when I'm being questioned in the building, I can say you can't use it.
There you go. Perfect.
The district-owned smoke machine that DeFreeseville had is at Tempest right now, being evaluated to see if it can be repaired because they had a problem. I was directed by the board to send it out. I did. It's just, there's a long delay, but it's in Connecticut right now. I should have an answer probably within the next 2 weeks as to if it's repairable. They believe it is, but I just wanted to let you know that that's where the district-owned smoke machine is
You know,
now.
we have some new command officers coming in both departments. I think we just got to remind everybody that it's the district that buys fire equipment. So we have the liability, we made the conscious decision for what's needed, and we take responsibility for it. We don't want the fire companies going out and buying fire equipment unless they discussed it thoroughly with us. And there's some kind of a decision made on it. So, but I appreciate your concern on that, Joe. If we can get more detail, and Mark says that he's given Bob some detail, we can look to see if that machine or the contents that would burn would impact or would affect that.
Yeah, because I know you just put those new filters and 99 inches, you know, filters and everything in there, so I don't want that to go down and then.
The good news is I was for a tour yesterday of the county training center as it's evolving, and the word they're telling us there is that we'll be crawling through smoke there by June or July. So that was good to see. So at the worst, we're talking about enduring 6 more months of
Right.
of what we've been going through. So that's not a bad thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Joe on the building district? Any commissioners, anybody else got anything? Dave, got anything to add on that one?
No, I know the roof repair was done and they would stand on top of everything.
All the stuff.
The only thing, Joe, if, I'll take care of the installation if it needs to be re-insulated.
Well, up on the roof,
Yeah, I'll look at it,
okay.
one of these days.
It's just, it looked like it was the weather type version.
Yeah,
Looks like it was interior stuff, not the foam rubber, but the
the white,
white.
yeah, I'll put it on my list and look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, we think the birds were actually pecking at it. That's,
Really?
yeah, that's what was happening to that.
Threw them out of the chimney on the side of the building.
Yeah, all right.
So we gotta hire somebody with a shotgun, is that what that? It's like crazy, craziness. All right, nothing else on the building then. President's report, we've got PJ's report from Freesville and the Dropbox. He's joining us, or he was planning on joining us by Zoom. I presume he's out there.
He's not on Zoom, so when he was sent the link.
We got a chance to look over his report. Let's see.
That's Emily, that's the Freesville.
All right, I got a membership application here from Freesville for Emily Peary, P-I-R-I-E. Not much I can say about her. I've met her a couple times now. Seems like a real nice kid. Should be a good addition, but it appears that she's got her everything in place here, including her DCGS printout. She's got approval. Fire company application looks in order, and pending board approval, she's all set to go get her physical. I can tell. So pass that around. Everybody take a peek at that. No. I don't think there was anything else from the Freesville.
There was one thing from PJ.
No,
It's in Dropbox.
I'm sorry. President's report. No, I opened this at home. I could read it now. It's a tiny print. No building use, one application. Requested permission to add equipment to the station AV equipment. Sent a letter with what's being brought. I did look at that. I forgot that. I'm sorry. Let me jump back to the equipment. Here we go. All right, at the recent monthly meeting for the Freesville Fire Department was pointed out that we do need to add some upgrades to the AV equipment to make it more user-friendly. This time we're asking for permission to add a computer keyboard, mouse, and associated hardware to the AV system to make it more user-friendly.
Type of DeFreeseville.
Yeah, that's gonna be the word DeFreeseville. The word DeFreeseville, if you can make it out of that, is willing to pay for all the parts and materials, labor, and training from the company that the district uses to maintain the system. Fire department intern will turn over ownership of the equipment once it's installed to the commissioners for use, and et cetera, et cetera. You've got it, and yeah, we don't have an estimate of what it's going to cost, but they're picking up the cost anyway. So it's a question of whether or not we want to allow them to make modifications to the existing AV system. One for, in talking, I know it's one for ease, better seamlessness in doing presentations here and doing stuff here, but also to help facilitate like Zoom meetings and those kinds of things. I know there's some talk about even getting to the point where we no longer need to bring a laptop in to do it, just do it off a computer there.
Yeah, I think
Sorry.
I believe the concept that PJ was discussing when I talked on the phone was in a desk, the Freesville company would buy the desktop and then basically put it underneath the podium here and run like a USB hub up to the top with a wired keyboard mouse. So if you're coming down to do training, whatever, it's just a thumb drive, so that easily hooks in. So they're having issues like the other night we were doing our mandatory training and things didn't work right with Jason Christie's MacBook. You know, fortunately Bob had the right adapter. Certain adapters don't work with the system. Part of it too, I think he was looking for is, bringing the company that owns the basic AV system in and kind of get some training for a group of members. And, if we're going to, while we're bringing people in, if there's people who want to be training on the AV system, you might as well take advantage of it. But just get people trained up on it so it's more than one or two people who initially got it, and where it's just more seamless when you come in. Plus, there's an app, Spectre app or something like that you can use. It basically use the technology there, but also get some hardware so people aren't bringing their own personal laptops.
I guess my fear is answered by it. I want to make sure everybody's clear on this and is aware. This ain't something where the Freesville going to go off and do on their own. They're just paying for something that the district's normal AV vendor.
Are they gonna buy it from our current vendor though? Eclipse.
I would imagine they would probably look at that. I can't speak for the company on that, but
So why wouldn't not that we're tight on the budget, but why wouldn't the fire district just buy that and have it run by our computer?
I think they just wanted to do it, they knew it wasn't budgeted, they knew it wasn't planned for, they didn't want to come to the district with another cost.
I love that.
And it was being seen more as not necessarily a special request, but it's something that they.
I like that idea too, but again, we're just like I'm saying, we're not buying, departments don't buy equipment.
Well, they came and asked. Though.
I know, but I would not, I would also there have it go through Bob, so that it's done the way the system's designed. Because if we
deals with them the
we're
most.
not good.
They would probably prefer, to be, Eclipse would probably prefer to be out in front of this, right? Rather than coming in after the equipment's already been purchased. We were already talking about some
Yeah.
security issues with the Wi-Fi, so we want to make sure that they have the right lockdowns on the, the computer.
Yeah, no, I
So-
believe their intent was to work with the vendors. I don't want to portray it, I don't want to put words in the president's mouth. I don't think their intent was to put up a Walmart. Give me
No.
that, right, no, I think their intent was all along work with the AV company, and,
Okay.
they offered to pay for it. And again, it's not quite the same as training, but, that was nice of them to offer, but some, they do use it for fire district training, and we may have the same need for mine school stations. So.
Besides, if it's works halfway decent, then we may want to do the other stations too.
Yeah, I'm currently running a class over there, and I've had some trouble with interface between my Mac and that system. And I've got a new Mac coming, which has got a different interface than this one does, because the new Macs are a USB, they're a Thunderbolt, which is similar to USB-C. This is yet something different that I don't even know what Mac calls it. But with the Macs, there's all kinds of interface issues. So we know we got to get it right. That's my.
Plus, we want to consider putting it on our service agreement, so that it's being maintained and monitored.
William, I know you don't represent the fire company board, but you're the only member here from the fire company board. You see any objection to the district taking this over and running with it? No problem. Saving the fire company a few bucks? All right, and at the same time, we'll use it as, I think among us, we'll kind of agree that we'll use this as an experiment. If it's worthy, that's something we'll build into the upstairs modifications when we do the revise whatever it is we do for training room and the wine school station.
If they bring people in for training, probably like last quarter, so you can see the system as we're being trained on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do little upgrades there as well.
So you want me to, get with Eclipse and obviously audio,
It
video?
looks like, I'm reading these emails, it looks like Mark Lasseter has done a lot of legwork on this already. And knowing Mark and his thoroughness for things, he doesn't say it in here, but I got a feeling he's probably already talked to Eclipse and done some of the background work.
Yeah, no, he didn't, because I did speak to Mark. He didn't
Okay.
talk to Eclipse. He's just, one of the other problems, and it's just good for the board to understand that some of the difficulty with this system is it's perishable in the sense that unless you've got your hands on it and you're working it all the time, you go up there and you haven't used it in 2-3 months and you're like, I'm not sure. And yes, the different Macs with the different adapters.
They all got a different adapter.
Right, and we had a problem, as Brian said, one member's didn't, the others, my adapter worked, but now audio video had instructed me to get this particular adapter because they said it will probably work, you won't have a problem. So I'll get some quotes together and have them for next meeting. Is that what you want me to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Much appreciated.
Any other questions on that? All right, so we're going to proceed with that, and we'll let PJ, we'll make sure PJ's aware of how we're going to proceed. And it's no slight of what the company was doing, it's just that we think it's more appropriate. We pick up the cost for it, use it to mirror across the way. He didn't have anything else in his report. I missed, did I? No, I didn't think so. I looked at that and forgot about it. All right, Wine School President's report. Nothing in the box, do we hear anything? You heard anything from him?
I haven't heard anything from us. The only thing we have just the 2 applications.
Yeah, there are a couple applications here. Couple application pictures. John Grinner, I hope I pronounced that right.
Reiner.
Griner, all right. Looks like he's got all his paperwork here, including his DCGS form signed by the county. Wine School application package is in back. And, oh my God, who's this one? Oh, Wilson, another Wilson? Sawyer Wilson, Danny Jr. son, right?
Yes.
God, I remember when Danny was pushing around at school. It's terrible. Looks like all his paperwork, doesn't look like he's been interviewed by the fire company, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Or it shouldn't be. All his paperwork is here, including his DCGS form, driver's license, all that neat stuff. So we've got 3 applications to act on under new business. Brian comes, look at them, and then we can pass them around. Anything else I'm missing under committee or under president's reports? None? Okay, we'll move on to approval of prior month's minutes. We have them in a Dropbox. Everybody had a chance to look them over. Consider a motion to approve. Motion to approve. Seconded by Dave. Any discussion? Any changes? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? To that. Treasure report.
Treasure.
End of year purchases and repairs is also included. What do you got to tell us, Sheriff?
Okay, the treasurer's report for the month ending November 30th, 2021 has a bank reconciled balance for the general fund of $11,502.86, 84 cents worth of interest for the month, $11.18 year to date. The money market account had a reconciled balance of $589,192.14. Earning $4.84 worth of interest for the month. The breakdown of that is $221 for the general fund, $221,193 for the general fund. The equipment of $103,597 for capital reserve equipment, capital reserve building, $212,196 in capital reserve repair, $52,203. Attached to the top summary sheet are copies of the bank reconciliation, which I pass off to Nick for you guys to review them and sign off on. So you have copies of the checking account reconciliation along with a copy of the bank statement, followed by a list of all the payments that were made from the general fund for the month of November with dates, check numbers, vendors, the amount. All these were approved at the November monthly meeting. The end of the month balance on 11/30/2021, according to this check register, is $11,502.86, tying out to my treasurer's report. And then the next two pages are the reconciliation for the money market account for the $589,192. And then lastly, you have an actual to budget report for the expenditures for this year. And if you look at the very last page of this report, we have approximately $80,000 left over to spend for the remainder of this year, which it looks like these invoices right here, $79,371.92 might eat up most of that. But I still haven't finalized my complete audit and review of this actual expenditures, so there might still be some other room in there going forward.
So there will be obviously money to allocate at the end of the year with regard to putting in some of the.
Maybe not this time, Rich, that's what I'm saying. I might not, that's why I was talking with Terry and all. This is probably the first year that we've really come right up against spending our limitation. Luckily, we have made some sales of equipment this year, so which is giving us a little wiggle room. Because even though we have $79,000 on this list, there's still going to be bills coming in next month that are for this year that I have to accrue into this period. But we did get $45,000 from sale. And then we just got another check for almost $4,000 for some more equipment that Bob sold in Auctions International. So we do still have some wiggle room in there, Rich. So there may be some money left over at the end.
Okay, well, what about the large sum still in the general fund?
Well, some of that money is going to be accrued for, which I haven't done the journal entry for, but we have interest on the bond.
Oh, okay.
It's usually like $70,000.
So that's where
So that's going to be eaten up, in this, but I got to accrue it. I'll do the journal entry for that on December 31st. So there are a few other things that are going to eat up at that $200,000. Okay. And the reason, again, too, that a little bit of that is there's like $60,000 a year from the equipment that Bob sold, the various types of equipment that we sold over the course of the year, so. That's why the balance is a little bit higher there.
Okay, anything specific on any of your purchases or repairs that you have?
Oh, so that was, okay, I'm sorry, so that was the treasurer's report, but then there was, oh, never mind, that's later on.
Well, what?
Oh, sorry, I have something else that I wanted to go over, but that's gonna be under new business, where we're gonna amend some of the line items in the budget. Sorry, Rich. I didn't-
No problem. No problem. Any questions for Sean from any board members? Okay, consider a motion or a resolution to approve the treasurer's report. Brian, Dave seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Brian?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
That's taken care of. Approval of this month's invoices. Dave, you did the review, right?
It looked good.
Everything good? Nothing jumped out of his.
Looked like I was in the thick funder.
We plan it that way. We tell those chiefs, hey, Dave's month is coming up, so make sure you spend lots of money. Spend lots of money. Looks like you've got a lot of stuff in though. That's good. I see equipment, not repairs. That's always a good thing when I see it on the purchase. So we need a resolution to approve the invoices.
Resolution.
By Nick, seconded by Dave. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Nick?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye. All right, so through that correspondence, Bob.
Yes, we received the fully executed agreement, the MOU for DFD firefighter Justin Colucci. KeyBank FDIC insurance assets for both ending in October and in November. Vandermolen fire apparatus sales and services indicated a price increase will take place in January. Received from New York State Association of Fire Chiefs some seminar and upcoming class notifications that they're holding. Also, the Association of Fire Districts from New York State, their scholarship program and some commissioner training that'll be held throughout the year. We received the check from Auctions International for $3,661. We received from Association of Fire Districts, New York State, their October, November Fire District Affairs bulletin. And we received from the Freesville Fire Department, their 2022 election results. Their officers.
Did receive Lansco's?
They have until next month. You don't need it until the organizational. I did send a courtesy email to the leadership, just reminding them, but they got 12 months to do that.
Any questions on received cards or correspondence? Move on, sent correspondence?
Yep, the only thing we sent was to VFIS. It was the risk assessment survey recommendations. We replied to their correspondence. We actually, there were no recommendations. Everything that they checked, we were in compliance with. The one thing that they said they needed a copy of was our fire inspection sprinkler backflow preventer records, which I sent that along to the person who conducted the survey. I'd like to thank the chiefs and Sean for assisting on that. It went very well. It was a couple hours, but he was very impressed with our experience rate, which is very good considering from a liability aspect. We do a very good job here, and so thank everybody.
Yeah, looking over that correspondence that was related to that, it was kind of refreshing to see that they sent somebody in here to do a risk assessment. And the only thing they kind of gigged us on was something that they just forgot to ask us for. And Bob was able to produce it like the next day, or you didn't ask for it.
He did ask for it, and I told him I would email them to him. I did. And then I felt like he had to put something in the
And it puts something in
report.
the report. But that's good, that's good.
It's there, that's.
That shows we've got our act together, I think, so. Real happy with it, Bill. Proud of.
I got a question.
Sure.
I'm not sure what it falls under. I know it's under I seen it come through, and it's the spray paint of the ladders that I can't remember what that failed or what that was on.
Yeah,
It's not fail.
it didn't fail. The NFPA recommendation is 18 inches and I was gonna send a follow-up to the leadership at Wyanskille for the Chiefs. And you guys have had a practice of painting them 36 inches down and they're just saying, don't do that in the future. It's 18 inches from the tip. So, yeah. And
Rectify it on the next ladder that comes into the apartment. So.
yeah, good, thank you.
And then their thought on that is that paint covers structural problems with ladders. So if there's cracks or even cracks on the aluminum, if there's something wrong with the ladder, paint's gonna cover it. So they don't want too much of the paint because, that's why if you look at the old wooden ladders, that's why they're always just clear varnish. Clear varnish so you can see the impurities of the doors. All right, let's see, old business, 2021 ballot review.
I only made 2 copies and it's on this really pretty salmon colored paper for you to review just how the ballot's gonna be. There's only one candidate. Sent in a letter, so.
Doesn't look too confusing thing.
No, it's pretty straight. I mean, it's the same thing, year after year. There's instructions on what to do and I just wanted you to see what it's gonna look like.
Do we need to take an action to approve that, or do we?
No, usually you don't. I just send it out just so you got an idea what it looks like.
Thank you for providing. Anybody got any questions for Sean on it? Underneath. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it made swear with you. I'm sorry.
That's not gonna work. You can try to ask tomorrow. So.
Under new business, we have proposed surplus equipment. We've got some additional surplus equipment that I guess we're in the process of identifying. Bob, you want to report out on that?
Yeah, we had a brief meeting where Rich and the 2 chiefs attended. We started at Wyanskille and then came over here to DeFreeseville just to identify some of the equipment that's been sitting around for a while that has been accumulating and is no longer needed by the district. The chiefs did supply us with the inventory disposal forms that's in Dropbox. So I guess what we normally do, this would be under $20,000 and it's no longer needed, that we would recommend the board declare it surplus so that I can get it disposed of and use Auctions International, any other means that we see fit.
Any discussion on that, anybody? Consider we need a resolution, right? Resolution to authorize Bob to perform whatever magic is necessary to get the stuff ready to go out for the Auctions International or whoever to.
I'll make a resolution.
Made by Nick. Seconded by Brian. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Nick.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
Dave.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye. Review of janitorial contracts. We've got janitorial contracts that Bob has got here. Any questions with regard to any of this?
No changes.
Straightforward, man.
Do we do anything different on them as far as if we have an event here, bring them in to clean? Did we figure any of that out?
It was already decided by the board previously that if that needed to be done, I had contacted both of our vendors and, they are willing to come in and, obviously just charges us a small fee to do whatever needs to be done, whether it's a training room, meeting room, or if it's whatever the area is.
ones that needed the building.
Right, but I'm just saying, so if there was a need, we would just call them up and say, we'd like to get you in here to do this particular area.
Is there a motion then to approve the extension of the January contract? Motion or
Resolution.
resolution, spending money? Ryan,
I'll make it. I'll second it.
Nick, seconds it. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Brian,
Aye.
Dave, Rich,
Aye.
Schedule the organizational meeting. Is there, there's no specific language we need to do for any of that, is there? When would the next meeting normally be?
the 10th.
10th? Is that soon enough that we, to take care of all our business that we don't need to do? And every once in a while, we say, we better do one.
Yeah, I think the 10th is fine. But we'll just start at like 6:30 so we can run through the organizational part first.
Sounds good. Consider a motion then to schedule the organizational meeting for the 10th of January at 6:30 so that we can take care of that and then do our regular meeting immediately following at 7 or as close to 7 as we can.
Yep.
Anybody? I'll make a motion. Dave seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? That's fine. 2021 budget amendment resolution. I presume this is what you're talking about before.
Yes, I'm sorry. We did, we have gone over on, slightly over on some building maintenance. Because we put in the solar screening here and we, did some upgrades to the, heating system here and over at WFD, as well as we did some significant apparatus repairs, ladder repairs and stuff like that. So we've gone over slightly in those two categories. And as usual, I usually kind of give us a little cushion on the LoSAP when we budget it. So there's about $35,000 left in LoSAP, which in the past we've used that to pay down the LoSAP. So the 30,000, I'm asking you to transfer 30,000 from LoSAP, 20,000 from other expenses, and move that money to building maintenance for 30,000 and apparatus repairs for 20,000, just so we're going to be under budget at the close of the year when we revise the budget. Does that make sense?
Okay. I'm just running through my head. Okay. You say we're going to be, I know they're under budgeted a year. Yeah, it's mid-December now. It's going to be January before we get a bill back from any work that's being done on 426 right now. So,
Yeah.
I'm running that one through my head too.
Yep.
So any discussion on any of this before we consider it?
You covered my question.
Pardon?
You covered my question. Before
Oh, that's 426. Dave, Nick, anything? No. Consider a resolution then to move the $50,000 as was indicated by Sean in the moments ago in the discussion.
Like a resolution.
A resolution by Nick, seconded by David. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Yeah.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
Dave.
Aye.
Brian.
Okay. On to the chief's reports. Mark, you want to go ahead and explain some report?
I don't have too much. The only thing I'm waiting on for truck 42 is the motor for number 2 discharge. That should be here soon. Dave originally got one and it turned out that it was the wrong motor, so he had to send it back. Apparently there's 2 different motors for it, so hopefully that'll be here very soon. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, I sent you an email about the COVID-19 exposure. Some of the members went to Dave Benedetto's father's wake. As I stated, everybody was wearing their masks, social distance, the whole 9 yards. So I can take a report that the family is doing good, and none of our members that were there were exposed to it, and everybody has been fine the whole time. Everybody's been monitoring their symptoms, so we've had no issue with that. Just a couple of things that we purchased. Got new headlights for Squad 42 because they're 10 years out. They're pretty dull. So we got them carabiners and Weber. The last item for the RDC, we have that. Those items were ordered and we have them in. And we just replaced the one wiper on Rescue 42 on the driver's side. Other than that, that's all I got.
Any questions for Mark Wise, please? Huh? All right, we'll move on to William. What do you got for the appraisal report?
Just a few things. Bonnie should have submitted her report to you guys. So it wasn't you guys already went over. Just purchases. I think I submitted over to Bob.
I got it here.
And so Justin Calucci went over with that also. He filed his paperwork. So he's hopefully tonight he'll get his observer status so he can start riding the trucks. He's been showing up. He couldn't go on any of the trucks, but he's been showing up and showing condition. So hopefully that'll help us out there. With our new member, Emily, she's kind of small. You know, we don't have any boots that kind of fit her because the smallest boot we have is 9. And she's a 5.5.
5.5 female or 5.5 male?
5.5 female.
So even smaller males, I doubt you're gonna find a 5.5 female.
Yeah, because we already went to you guys to check and you guys didn't have it. Because Bart went to Adam or Dan, double check with you guys. The commissioners and the wine and skill chiefs are invited to the chiefs drill that we're going to be having on the 21st. That's next week. So feel free to come down. Surplus. I brought this up to Bob. I submitted it over to him in regards to the traffic cones and stuff in case we had extra money. Also, we submitted something for driver's gear, just a preliminary quote we sent over to Bob. Basically, we wanted to have it mimic what our current gear is, like the layout and everything else. It's just going to be a more played down fire gear, so it isn't going to be so expensive. I mean, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but you know, keeps us from having to buy big, heavy Class A or
Reflective and all.
yeah, it'll be similar to what's sitting out there. You know, color may be off tan sitting out there, but we just kind of gave that quote as a general idea of what we were looking for to spend for driver's gear.
Okay, let's take care of the purchases under new business. Or no, we already did. Take care of it right now.
Just had a question.
Sure.
And I was reading Inspector Chief, my apologies. So with Emily, does she have boots? Because she's going to
She
go
has
she has a pair of
she has a larger size pair of boots. You know, they don't fit well, but we're gonna. That's kind of why I brought it up because I just want to get it since she's kind of after.
Yeah, no, I just,
right.
are you looking to buy it, buy her a pair? I mean, honestly, you gotta put her in some safe. She's gonna be starting riding a truck tomorrow.
Yeah. So
I mean, I can't speak for the budget, but I mean, they're what, $290, $300?
yeah, $200 or $300.
But personally, don't know how the other commissioners feel, but yeah, a pair of boots that fit.
Yeah.
It always seems like we go through the ordeal of we get a member that's just outside or.
$300 to get a firefighter on a truck.
So right at the moment, it's just boots. It isn't fire gear or anything like that. So that's,
So just at this point, we're in the
it's just boots. So our fire gear should be fine for the moment.
I think they're about 300 for a set.
360.
360. It's been a while. Retirement's good.
So then we're considering the purchase. We need to approve the purchase.
No, it'll get approved at the next,
Right, okay.
So
we're just looking at this thing for that. All right, so the only purchase that we have, we're going to act on tonight is a purchase request here I'll send around. It's for 10 sets of collapsible foam, total value of $529.09. That includes the shipping. Looks like they've shopped it pretty well. Got their stuff together on it. If you want to take a peek at it. Yeah, I think you got it in Dropbox as well.
It's to get those big heavy cones out of the back of the utility because we have, those things are just bears for people that are fire police or prospective fire police.
Having moved them several times, I would tend to agree. Do we want to have a discussion about the driver's gear now? Do you want to think about it? What do you want to do, guys?
Is this something that we budget for this year coming up?
No, we did not budget for it. We were hoping that there was going to be money left over at the end of the year, potentially do that. But then just, we got the new quote for the upgrades to WFD. We know we got to replace the utility out here, got to replace the aerial. So, you know, I feel all this crushing weight coming up on me. And then Bob and I were talking today about, maybe there should be a plan for this, because some of these drivers might have turnout currently that's only a couple of years old, but they could probably use for the next 5 years. So should we really be buying new driver turnout for them right now? Unless, of course, there's some new firefighter that could take the current driver's turnout, and then we would buy them. So maybe we could look at possibly doing it sort of in shifts or stages, buying this instead of once buying all the drivers, all new driver gear turnout.
Yeah, it wasn't gonna be an all at once type of thing, because we wanted to do kind of a test phase with 4 guys for each department, have 4 sets of guys, just to kind of put out there, just so we know, because we don't want to do this massive expense and all of a sudden go, oh, it didn't work out. And
I don't want to see wasted money and come winter time when it's, negative degrees out, you guys standing outside on the side of the road with pump panel with, basically almost like a summer firefighter panel. He's gonna be wanting something heavier and we're not gonna have nothing. to
Can
go.
we maybe wait until spring for it? Would that be a better option for you, Sean?
I guess the question is, how many members do we have that are drivers only that aren't an interior fireman? How would we be on the Freesville side and on Wansville side? What is the true number? Because I know just because I can drive doesn't mean I should have a set of driver's gear, because I could be interior one day or next day I can drive it. So I guess we should have a better number.
it was meant exclusively for his drivers right at the moment.
Yeah, I understand
Nobody
that.
has
What I'm
interior
saying
or
is,
anything like that.
if we're gonna buy a driver's gear, it should be someone who's not classified, because I can drive the fire truck there, doesn't mean that I didn't bring another driver in the back that doesn't go interior. And that way I'm without gear. I'm just saying, if you have a person that's a class A fireman, they don't deserve fire gear, we should be wearing our bucket pants and have our full gear, because you never know what you're gonna come to. Just because you drove the fire truck to the scene doesn't mean the fire truck actually gets used. That's all my.
I don't think the intent was to give them to drivers that are also interior firefighters.
But that's what I'm saying.
It was just intended for people that own a garage.
Strictly drivers only.
It's for 8 or 10 guys that I have here that are specifically drivers only, pretty much, that don't go and see the inside of the building. So
How many sets are we talking at the first purchase, I guess?
it was gonna be 4 for each department, just as a trial run to,
So you're looking at someplace around 10,000?
A little less than that, yeah. William, if I'm looking at the specification right, this is wildland firefighting gear, right?
yeah, it was geared as that.
Is it lined wildland firefighting gear? Or just,
I believe
most
so.
of the wildland firefighting gear that I'm familiar with is just Nomex. And while that would offer the visibility and some of the rain resistance that we may be looking for,
I think it was a combination wildland.
yeah, I need to go back and look at the spec there, because
I think that's what we're looking at.
wildland firefighting gear would give you no thermal protection for winter. That was my thought.
Yeah, there was another set of gear that we looked at.
Be better off with a set of Carhartts.
There's another set of gear that was like $1,400 that just was completely over the top of what we needed.
Yeah.
It was just kind of,
That'd be tech rescue gear.
yeah.
So,
We gotta get a little more information overall on it.
right, so what I was gonna say from the procurement end is because, it's not, we're not gonna have the surplus, what was originally thought to possibly purchase some of this, that's really not gonna happen, because you see what the numbers are. It's gonna be tight to start with. And we've done a good job at developing the specifications for the turnout gear for interior, exterior, the hose, the SCBA. I feel like this should be no different. So yeah, there's going to need to be some research done to answer these questions about, is it the right set? And I don't know if we should purchase 8 to say, we don't know if this is good or bad. And if whoever the vendor may be, or a combination of vendors that might say, here's a set you can use. You just, for whatever, like a sort of a trial period, so that we get a couple different to figure out what it is that we want to use that will work. So when you do make a purchase, whether it's 4 and 4 or 2 and 2, we know that we're pretty safe, that we're not spending money that we're just going to say 2 years later, it didn't work out. So that would be my suggestion to the board from the procurement end, that we develop a good, solid set of specifications.
I was at the, for example, I was at the East Scrapers Fire Station there in the last month for a class, and they went ahead and issued driver gear, and essentially their driver's gear is the same thing that it looked to be the same thing that we're showing our fireplace.
That's that, yeah.
High visibility, warm in the winter, and you know, and really
Longer version.
as a driver, what else do I need? You know, as a longer version of a coat, as a driver, what else do I need? So it's some things to
Like a
consider.
3-season reflective coat.
Pardon?
Like a 3-season, like we have in the state part of it, 3-season longer reflective coat.
Yeah,
And then
there's a bright green coat with
That's what I understand.
I want to say it's silverish reflective trim on it, so it stands out.
Like a zip-up boot, so you have to protect in case it falls.
It stands up. So I think there's some things to consider as we move forward with it. So
William, I don't want you to rehash everything, because I'm sorry I'm late, I was over in Albany, met my mother's over at the hospital. Just a quick question, if you covered this, I apologize. For the set that you're specifying,
Yes.
did you pick that out, or did some drivers, like, did any drivers get a chance to like see it, give their input, hey, this looks like it might be good, or?
Yeah, so Ryan, over at Mansfield, Adam was over there with some of the guys, and one of the vendors was came over with that set of gear. Also, there was talks with Garrison also with some other things that, like I said, was kind of very over the top of what we really needed. So it was just kind of their feeling over there, what they were looking at, and I trusted those that were.
I would just suggest if we're gonna not move on this tonight and we're gonna be looking at doing some more research, actually, when you get a couple of sample sets, over, Wine and Skill, get some of your key drivers that are there a lot, let them look at, touch it, try it on. Same with over here, get some of your, frequent drivers, get their input. The people that are really gonna be using it, you might wanna.
and I don't think that having it look the same as the rest of the gear on the racks is as important as it fitting the need and providing the greatest level of the type of safety that the driver only needs.
I would think that the fire police gear that we're using now would need all that, warmth wise and waterproof and reflective.
As long as it was usable in summer. Yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of options to look at. I think we can say, I'm impressed with the number in that, wow, that's a pretty substantial savings for a set of gear. And I think we can even bring that down lower by looking at something that's maybe even better for those. And not worrying about matching what we have now.
Yeah. Like I said, I was kind of getting that out there to get you guys prepared for the field, what we were looking at.
Yeah, we used to call that priming the pump.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, appreciate that. Let the record show that Dan is here. I don't have to run this meeting anymore.
just one other thing.
Still do his job. Yeah, right.
Just myself and Vice President Denny will be requesting executive session.
Sure. Yeah, it's all yours.
All right, Mark, did you go yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Standing committees, apparatus, equipment, and needs, Dave and Rich.
We don't need a lot right now.
We're returning a lot.
We're carrying a lot. Oh, yes, right about that. I guess we don't have any paperwork on it yet, so I'm not in a position to completely report on it yet, but we're finding a lot of things with 4 through 6. You saw the list of pump repairs that we've already authorized. I was up there on, I guess, Wednesday last week, and they showed me another repair that had been done previously that had me a little concerned. We're going to try and find out a little more information on who made it or when, or see if we can even track that down or figure it out. But I think we're going to, when we get the paperwork back on 4 through 6, we understand what it is we're going to have to spend on it to get it back into shape and to get it to a safe and sellable condition. It's not like we're rehabbing it to sell a parade truck. We're just getting it to a safe and sellable level of service duty, so that we can hold our heads up in the air and say, yeah, we're comfortable selling you this fire truck. It's only an 11-year truck, 11-year-old truck, so. I'm not, I don't think we could sell it with the same kind of, cross your fingers and hope for the best that we sell a 22 or 23-year-old truck with. So I think we'll have more to discuss about that next month, but with regard to repairs. David, anything?
Just the idea of the, boat idea down the road. I think we'll wait until January, once we pass all the holidays, get together on that, to see what's coming. Other than that, I know the ice rescue equipment is in, so I'm looking forward to doing more drill on that. And seeing that operation, and getting both departments involved in that.
All right, and just on equipment, we'll go back to the cone purchase for 10 sets of collapsible traffic cones. Estimated cost of $529.09. Entertain a resolution to approve the purchase. Rich, second by Dave, roll call.
Brian,
Aye. Dave.
aye, Dan,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Resolution carries. Buildings and grounds, Dave and Brian.
I have one thing on the landscaping for the spring cleanup. We did it 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, we had them chop all the trees and stuff. Well, whatever's growing down in the valley is coming back up to 6 to 8 feet already. So I think we gotta figure out how to curb that, kill it, do something to it, because it's already overtaking it inside of, the 2-year period. And we took out a lot last year. So I think it's something that we're gonna have to either add to the landscaper or plan on bringing the guy with the big saw in again. But we spent $5,000, I think, last time, just about. And he took a lot out, but this is all other junk growing.
It's like that soft sumac.
And it's all sorts of, and it looks nice once it's done, but again, it's still.
Hardwoods don't grow that quick. The soft ones like that, you gotta get it, you can't just cut them off. You gotta get in there and dig the root balls out, or else they just keep repopulating. Matter of fact, if you wanna make them grow faster, cut them off and they'll just keep coming back faster.
Well, it's aggressive if you go over there now. Other than that, I know with the building committee, we're looking at the retaining wall where the flag and stuff is now. That'll be.
Would that retaining wall, as it runs back, would that go into any of that area that you're talking about?
We got our property line pretty close, it's halfway to the hill. We own probably to the bottom of the hill, give or take. But it's in that area, but it's all of that. The whole thing behind the sheds, alongside the property next to the ambulance property, by the dumpster, it's already taken off again. And he basically went in and cleaned it right down to the ground level, took everything away, and it was like, yeah, it looks pretty good. And then it's back.
I'm just wondering if we gotta dig that out and put a retaining wall in, is that gonna take care of our problem in some of those areas?
Well, we'd have to go farther for the, behind the shed. Yeah, a little bit of it.
But not around the corner.
No, it's not unless we're able to get that property, but.
Yeah, another thing is, as was mentioned in the email from Bob, thank you, Bob, for everything you do every month.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, but both compressors can be serviced on the 15th. I believe Bob reached out to Joey, copied him on that. For the 15th, the compressors,
Yeah, like 15.
and the Cascade system bottle replacement scheduled for this month here. So,
All right, district personnel, I don't have anything just yet. There is going to be a need to go into executive session, but we'll do that at the end of the meeting. Brian, anything else?
nothing earlier in the month, the officer qualifications were sent to all chiefs, so they haven't ready for the company elections. Yeah, Matt, nothing.
All right. Finance, insurance, long-range planning and audit. Sean, anything in there?
I did reach out to the CPA firm, it was on the last week of January, to start the audit or work on the audit. Other than that,
I'm just curious, what's that cost us again?
about $5,000.
Is it not the norm or is that like?
Yeah, it's about the norm, and Terry's gonna send me the RFP for that, because we gotta go out to bid again for that, coming up. Actually, I think they're saying it's pretty cheap.
I was just curious, thanks. Policies, procedures, and membership.
We got 2 Lions Club memberships also.
What's
We
that?
got 2 Lions Club memberships
There's
also,
3 applications stacked.
Okay,
just so you know.
We can take care of them.
all right, well, on policies, procedures, and membership, so Brian and Nick.
What I said are the wrong report, I'm going to say for this report, but the also publications.
All right, Nick, go ahead, you said you got a few members.
Actually, they're saving them by Brian.
Right here. 2 for wine, 1 for the free smoke.
Did you guys already get a chance to look at that?
Yes,
We discussed them, passed them
I
around.
don't think the free ones there.
All right,
So the free one's in the folder next to David. Good.
when did you look at that one already?
That came around.
All right.
Hi, Joey.
Everybody have a good holiday.
Joey,
Thank you,
Joey,
Joe.
take it easy.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
You guys already looked at these, you're comfortable with them, feel the need to. All right, why don't we vote on these as a group unless there's a reason anybody wants to pull
Make a
them.
motion to approve the 3 of them.
All right, motion made by Rich, second by
I'll say,
Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. LoSAP, Nick.
still nothing yet, but the end of the year is coming, and we will try after next month's meeting, sending out some emails so we can have a meeting and get the process rolling.
I did print off I went on, there's a portal I would go to, so I printed out the stuff for the, I don't want to say audit, the census, and as well as the invoice was in there, but I sent an email to Michelle today, because we usually don't pay for LoSAP until we receive our tax revenues. So she has COVID right now, Michelle Banning does, so she said she'll be back to work this week, she'll find out if we can wait until the end of February to pay the LoSAP. It's all right.
How many more calls you need, Brian?
I don't even need to about their now already.
All right. Brian, you're on that committee, anyway.
Negative.
Two chiefs, anything? LoSAP? Eric? All right.
Well, let's call you, Brian. Six 14.
All right, special committees, business operations and technology. Bob, I'm gonna turn this over to you. I know there's been some computer discussions, iPad and
About for the new iPads,
the iPads and then what was the
DFB stuff.
The technology, the router, the plan, service plan.
Oh, the service.
Is that coming up?
No, well, no, actually, the service plan, they haven't really done anything, you know, they haven't increased the service plan in a while. Yeah, so let's hope they don't. But there are gonna be some cybersecurity things.
That's, yeah.
Okay, cybersecurity things with our equipment that we're gonna be faced with probably coming into the new year. That's gonna be probably a higher level than what we're used to. And I think most of the equipment, if not all the equipment, is in really good shape that we have, because we have been on a cycle of replacing things, and Windows 10 kind of forced us into that just recently, you know, because we had to recycle out of 3 or 4 computers because they weren't compatible. But that is something that we're gonna be faced with. And I think a lot of the IT providers that, you know, are providing services for governments and organizations, they're sort of mandating saying you must bring your system up to this level. Well, I'm just saying, we're gonna be faced with that.
It's no longer a luxury. I think we just have to recognize the fact that it's what we gotta spend to be in business. It's like insurance and fuel and gear and hose. You know, it's just what we gotta do to be in business.
Correct. And, you know, and obviously, you know, not that we're gonna get, that I think we're gonna be sticker shock. It's just, it's a different way of doing business that we have to protect our assets. So, and the companies now are taking a different stand as they, like before it would be, well, you can do it if you want, or you don't have to, but now they're taking the position you will.
That and the insurance companies too, because of the, you know, basically the municipalities that got their data seized and held hostage. So that's really what's driving all of this. A fire district is not a real handsome target, but it would just wreak havoc with you if you came up on some Russian or I should say Russian, some bizarre, you know, otherworld hacker, and okay, you're locked down because they think you're something. Yeah, then you got millions of dollars.
And that has to play into the access that is done through the fire stations, both through the Wi-Fi that the members enjoy, the fire department computers that, you know, you want to go in, somebody wants to go in on the office computer and look something up on Amazon and order it as a Christmas present from the wife, you can, you know, but then we may have to, that may have to come to an end someplace just because of all the security measures we're gonna have to put in.
Well, and what we can do, and this is something that will happen probably right out of the first of the year, is our point of accesses for our Wi-Fi systems, which there are a couple around here. Wyanskill has a couple. You can have different Wi-Fi settings in there. So like here, the DFD guest is different than the NGFD guest. It just goes to a different side of the server and allows, so what may happen is exactly what you're saying. For certain staff and commissioners and people who have access, you'll have access to the NGFD side. Everybody else will be DFD. Same goes for Wyanskill. It'll be kind of like the same thing. And that's something that I've had conversations with Dave Young, and it's got to happen.
It's coming.
Right. So
We have to kind of reorient yourself, because when we first got into the whole computer thing, having access for members, we would have a point of access. We would have a terminal that they could use. Everybody's got their own terminal now. So you just got to kind of evolve and say, okay, now it's just the plumbing, if you will, or the routing or the routing and keeping it discrete from the internal system. So it's, I mean, it's, you know, the point about going on and buying something on Amazon shouldn't happen anymore. Shouldn't happen. I mean, if you let a lot of people use the guest access, fine, but they shouldn't. You got to get away from saying we got to have a terminal available for people to use. Go to the library if you don't have one, you know.
We did do one technology thing during the president's reports, I believe, that I'll brief you on afterwards. Minor thing that Teresa was proposing something. The district said no. We'll take care of it. I'll brief you on that.
So don't use the desktop and don't use the washing machine.
Probably not
Library
more-
laundry.
Washing machine's probably more important.
Eric?
Does the district have either standalone or a rider on an existing policy for cyber security, cyber impact?
I don't know the answer to that, Sean. Do we?
I don't believe it's listed in the policy. No.
There's probably a kind of a feckless little endorsement that's part of the package policy, if it's like most business packages, but yeah, and that's kind of where I was gonna go with that. You gotta kind of wed those two together to make sure you've got, you know, oh, we got cybersecurity. Well, you don't, because you don't have these things in your system. We're also seeing it with, you know, in the banking world with, you know, theft of wire transfers. I mean, it's phenomenal the stuff that's going on. So yeah, banks got coverage, but it doesn't because it didn't do A, B, and C.
Credit card stuff, it's all crazy these days. It's constant.
Is that something, Sean, when you're talking to Michelle, you know, if there's certain minimum requirements that our insurance company would require? that we have. we could look into.
Yeah, I can ask him. I'll check.
All right. Nick, do you have anything else for that committee? Development plan review, Brian and Nick.
Not too much with the planning board meeting, end of last month, I think it was. The developer for Quackenbury Commons was asked by the planning board to, through Mike Meyer, to have a meeting with the, fire district, ambulance, all that kind of stuff. To date, we've not been contacted by the town to have that meeting. The idea was to have a meeting to kind of flesh out our issues that we may have with the commons that's go down behind Home Depot, CVS, that area. I know they're on a kind of a timeline. They, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but there's a certain timeline because they're trying to change some zoning rules or whatever. And, but there's been no meeting on that. Other than that, I left.
What's being proposed about it?
Yeah, it's basically, it's two, for lack of a better term, commercial / apartment buildings. One's a 4-story with a 5th floor rooftop entertainment venue and a 3-story with a rooftop entertainment venue. Underground parking, several hundred parking spots. The primary concern, I think, from a fire side is the electric car charging stations. Underneath it, you can see more and more stuff in the news about these electric car fires, tens of thousands of gallons of water to put out, hours on scene. So there's some concerns we have, but and obviously the height, but nothing. Yeah, that the first floor would be commercial. Their idea or concept is that the first floor commercial occupancies would be more to support residents. So you may see like laundromat, dry cleaner type thing, those kind of things. Pastry shop. Yeah, the developer seems very willing to work with the town and everything, but there's been no reach out to have this meeting, unless you reach out to your chief separate, but heard nothing but from anybody. So other than that, we got plans which I left on Chief Burkhart's desk about the gym.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay, I was listening to. We got the plans for the gym proposal. I put the drawings on the chief's desk for comment. That's going down next where Aldi's is going, so unknown which
I
gym.
thought last month, Rich, you had said that Aldi's is basically now the gym.
No.
The original gym plan was part of a healthcare building. Yeah, it would all be a building that was going to include event fitness. That got scrapped in terms of the Aldi's. Now, and that was on the site that Aldi's is going. But now what Brian's talking about is, where that little house is there? To the left of that is a big gym. That's what they planned.
It's a 2-story. That's the rumor, but it's a 2-story gym basically. It was like 40,000 square foot total, 30 on the first.
Not that I plan on it.
No, but I mean,
That's on the planning board agenda for this one.
we just got sent to about it. Yeah, but we just got to get comments from chief, got anything for it. I'll take it back on some comments. We'll get a letter sent over to the town.
I'll go with Dave.
Yeah.
Go again.
Once they sell that house, so we're going Dunkin' Donuts in front.
Well, yeah.
I had it at the pastry shop.
That's right.
That'll be testers.
You guys are done at the gym, stop. Have a couple fun. All right. Nick and the Chiefs, anything on development plan review? All right, thank you, Brian. The firematic operations, Rich and Dave.
I know, once we get into the new chiefs here, we've got a few new chiefs coming on board. I think we probably plan on having a little get together with them. Go through all the different items that we've had in the past year or two. And just kind of, update stuff, nothing too major. Mainly repairs and a few other things that we'll be discussing in the future here. And Rich?
We've been discussing it under firematic operations right along, but it's more district operations, but it goes back 2 years now. It's time to talk about COVID again. As most of you saw Friday afternoon, the governor released a mandate that requires us to, everybody that's indoors to be masked or have a policy to deal with it. I looked over our old policy, and it seems that our old policy still carries perfectly what she is requiring. I just think we need to restate it, to reinforce it, to make sure that it's being enforced. That And the one, I wasn't sure on ours, if you have provided the chief, or a medical officer, chief designates somebody, a medical officer to handle it. If you've provided that person with proof of your vaccines, and that would be either a copy of your card or a copy of the printout of the Excelsior pass, then you are not obligated to wear a mask. You can, should you choose, but you're not obligated to wear a mask in the building. If you haven't, even if you claim you have a vaccine, if you haven't provided that proof, you're required to wear a mask. So that should be enough muscle for both of our chiefs and the assistant chiefs to say, look, if you haven't provided us with that proof and you're not wearing a mask, you're in violation of district policy. And then the chiefs or the district can take appropriate action. But there shouldn't be any of this, people shouldn't be playing with games with these guys saying, well, you got no business asking me, and that's confidential under HIPAA, and whatever other millions of excuses that their Facebook lawyer attorney friends have given them. It's a term of employment. It's accountable. So I think we just need to reemphasize and reinforce the fact that you guys are empowered to act under our existing policy or under our existing procedure on this. And if they haven't given you proof, and they're not wearing a mask, then they're in violation of the district policy, and they don't belong in the apparatus, and they don't belong in the firehouse.
I got asked a question on the side, nothing official. We post the people who are showing that they are, given the note, say that they have their shot.
That's HIPAA. That's HIPAA. I don't want you knowing that I have both my shots by Google, even though I just said it publicly. That's none of your business.
I know for sure.
But where you should be reassured of it is the fact that I'm sitting here without a mask and the chief isn't taking an action with regard to it. So you should be assured now that and that's the assurance that any member should have. That if there's someone sitting there in the firehouse with them, or someone on the apparatus with them, and they're not wearing a mask, then they should have every assurance, or guaranteed every assurance, that that person has had their shots. All right. What isn't clear, and I didn't get it from the governor's message, Terry might have gotten it out. At what point is is the booster mandatory?
Not there yet, but we got a couple things that the governess gave us no consideration of. One is tomorrow night's election. Okay, so you're gonna theoretically people coming in from the general public. And according to what I read her words to say, they're supposed to be masked.
Yeah.
So, thank you for all the advance notice. The other thing that, this is in effect till January 15th, just file that date away, folks. Okay, that's just an illusion, at least in my opinion. Okay. The other thing you're going to have to look at, and I agree with Rich wholeheartedly, the policy that you have in place is kind of what they're coming around. There's two classes of people, vaccinated and unvaccinated, and that's how you have to enforce. The other thing is you got to, what events, other things besides the election that are here, your company meetings, or again, if you have something else we got outside, say you've got a community group, one of your things that is typically hosted here, you're going to have to probably do a little shift and put the onus on the organizer of that meeting, as opposed to you as the host of the venue. So that might take a little bit of restructuring, either a contract or an agreement, because you don't want to be in the business of that type of enforcement. So if you have the XYZ community group that's going to use this, or even a state training, which I think they're all directed on, you're going to have to post this. Now, with everything I just said, Rensselaer County is apparently accepting itself from the mandate. So I don't think you want to get in that crossfire. So I think you just kind of adhere to the best you can what you've got now. But I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you to do for tomorrow night, other than everybody gets a paper mask if they don't come in with one on, and
One of my concerns about tomorrow night is, our tellers, our poll workers are gonna be here, many of whom have had their vaccines, and under our policy, they don't need to wear a mask. And you're gonna get somebody from the public who's gonna come in and say, why do I gotta wear a mask? You're not wearing one.
because we know the people in this room, on this side of the table who have been vaccinated, and we don't know or care to, I don't understand the governor's directive
What
about.
happens though if we ask someone to leave and deny them the right to vote? That's, I guess, my,
Would it hurt to ask the people that are doing the voting to wear the mask? Are people
They do it,
paying them to do it?
they do it Lowe's when you walk in now, they want you to wear a mask, they do, I mean, and now all of this.
I don't
you
think
know,
it would kill them to do.
I got a real problem having this pushing up against the election, the electoral process. I haven't got a fix for you, and I don't think that it's fair to put it on our, our highly compensated election officials.
when you get that, can you send it to us by 2 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah. So I mean, how am I gonna have my wife, police, and the firefighters that are vaccinated coming in to vote say, you can't come in unless you put a mask on? It's gonna be.
Most of the firefighters are afraid of your wife, I think. They learn from you. But no, in all candor, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you to do about that.
I'll just put signs up, masks must be worn by voters, and I'll put a box out with a bunch of masks, and put one on, make this as a.
That's what I was gonna say.
Seamless.
Put a sign up outside.
And if someone,
Doing it now.
well, let's defer to off the record for if someone. But yeah, this is a heck of a mess they put district elections in, and we don't really know how to enforce it. The nice thing is that Rensselaer County can always hide behind it.
Right.
Well, he's only,
Kind of.
Rensselaer County is only saying he's not gonna send people out.
Well, it's his agency that's the enforcement mechanism.
Right,
So,
but
I mean, that's.
That's all he's doing, is saying that he's not
Yeah,
gonna.
I can just, I can envision somewhere, maybe not here, maybe not mine, still thinking our district, but somebody saying, well, I looked in the window of the firehouse and nobody in there was wearing masks, so I didn't feel comfortable going in. So I couldn't vote, so therefore your election is invalid.
Well, but the obligation is on the business person to make certain the persons coming onto the premises are vaccinated or tested or wear masks. So, I mean, you can say we did our obligation with our people.
Right.
But.
Can I put on the sign? You must wear a mask if not vaccinated, but if vaccinated, must show proof to the teller or ballot.
People aren't gonna show up right there.
So just must wear a mask if you're a voter. Strongly encouraged to wear a mask.
No, see,
Strongly.
that's what I'm worried about, because my read of it, and you're the lawyer, I'll defer, but my read of it was public buildings have to wear masks unless someone has shown proof that that they've been vaccinated. And we're a public building, our people have shown proof. So the public coming in would either have to show proof or wear a mask.
Now, the story, but you can't believe the news, but.
I see where you're coming from, Terry, because who's gonna be sitting there checking everybody at the door for proof?
Well,
What it said on the
are saying wear a mask.
Right. What it said on the news, this evening, whether it's accurate or not, it was about a restaurant. Said their choice is either mandate everybody wears a mask, or you don't come in unless you're vaccinated. They said it can't be a mix of both. I think he's gonna get through tomorrow night.
For 6 minutes, come in, wear a mask.
Right.
Make it easy, don't make it any harder. It has to be.
But as to the tellers, we'll have.
And I know on both sides of town, there's some guys that are tellers that have got some pretty strong opinions that, may not choose to wear a mask tomorrow.
If they're vaccinated, we don't have a problem with that. Because they're not the ones coming, what the latest edict pronounced was, as a business owner or a building operator, you have people coming on have to wear masks. Or you have
And
to,
what if we put a little sign up saying all our tellers are vaccinated?
well, you're allowed to say that either. You're not.
We don't know that. We're not allowed to disclose their HIPAA, sort of their HIPAA.
The other thing is, these ballot clerks aren't the business owners.
But they're being employed by the district for that, right?
So I know, I can already kind of see a scenario where there's gonna be a firefighter that's not gonna wear a mask coming in. What are they supposed to
People
do
go
with that
outside.
person?
Talk about it off.
Stewards make sure employees wear the mask, even if they're vaccinated.
No, make everybody go outside. Go to the,
Yeah. Couple salamanders.
The shed's empty.
You're cutting into my time to get down to juniors and see how they're handling the mask.
Yeah.
How they're handling the
All
mask.
right, public session.
I will tell you,
Anything?
I'll let you know if anything new, nope. Nothing
All
right
right.
there.
There was an easy one to executive session. Discuss the employment history of a particular member or members.
Lucky Mark.
I'm out, I'm gonna ask for the first.
See, I'm running fast.
For Bob and Sean and William and Eric to stay, as well as board council.
Dan, you want me to shut down, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
On the video.
Somebody make that motion to go in?
Oh, motion. Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Made by Rich, second by Dave.
Aye.